where is HR analytics? Like we're talking so much, there's so much happening, but where is it? छुपा कहाँ है? ऐसा कैसे कि किसी से भी पूछो तो वैसा नहीं कोई खास कर रहा है, बट है HR एनालिटिक्स कोर्सेज हो रहे हैं, HR एनालिटिक्स हो रहा है, मतलब हो क्या रहा है?
वो क्या रहा है?
हाँ.
चलो इस पे आज I get the chance to ask me. So one of the first things, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Subhashini, is today we can see a lot of machines which have inbuilt IoT, which have machine learning, which have artificial intelligence. What about humans? When will humans become as smart as machines?
So I think that's a very relevant question, Ruben. Thing is that all around us we are seeing that our products, all these apps, etc., are helping with intelligence amplification. So they're giving inputs to humans to make better decisions, faster decisions. This is, I think, where we are going today. AI per se is not very big today, not at least in everyday work. So the two big things that is happening because of the integration of analytics and data science and machine learning is that one, corporates and people are able to make much faster, much better decisions, and the second is that information which was often earlier available only to certain people, which was earlier available only to the corporate, has become available to a lot many more of us if we know where to look.
So where to look?
Like, I always like the journey Glassdoor has done. Salary benchmarking is not new, but earlier the HR teams or the senior management teams used to get their reports from AC Nielsen. They used to buy these reports and then enable the benchmarking. While now you and I can go onto Glassdoor and we can see where we stand vis-a-vis our compatriots of other companies or other jobs of similar titles with other companies. So I think this is the type of transparency in information which has started coming because of these intelligence amplification tools.
So how does this whole concept of benchmarking, of measuring, say for example, the big issue of productivity. So how can this impact performance at the workplace, or how can putting in benchmarks make a difference to organizations?
Right. Benchmarking helps in multiple ways. Of course, the HR team or the CEO's team or the business team, they do talent assessments and they can understand the benchmark, differentiate between performers and laggards and the type of skills that each of these people bring to different roles. Right? So basically what happens is there is nobody who's not good, but the thing is we each have certain skill sets and people with certain skill sets do better at certain jobs.
Correct.
So which are those skill sets and what is the level of that skill set that we need? This is what benchmarking helps in. Now the point is that till now these were always things which HR or our business leader or our manager told us. But today if we want to, as individuals, want to go and check how can we improve ourselves, how can we do better in our performance ratings, we can come to organizations like Pexi Test, our product, and
get assessments done.
Yes, and when we do the assessment and when the report comes, we get a benchmark saying that this is at this particular competency, here is where you lie as compared to other people of your educational qualification, of your age, etc.
Educational level.
Yes. So it helps us to do a SWOT analysis in an unbiased manner, and improve ourselves, improve our performance, because we have clear understanding that these are the places where we need interventions.
So I understand that like we are serving a lot of both large and mid-sized companies. I'm slightly worried about the slightly not absolutely the small ones, but the small to mid or the mid to large size organizations, where I do not see them doing much in this space. What would be your advice to them?
If you go to the gym, if today I go to the gym and I say I want to lose weight, the gym person comes up with a plan which is a combination of the exercise and the food or diet,
Correct.
right? It is no use giving me steroids or certain powders to eat if I am not going to back it up with exercise, or if I am going to do certain types of exercise, I need to change my diet.
Absolutely.
Similarly, right? Now, the same way, if people have to take advantage of intelligence amplification products and apps, see, the app is doing its part by telling you what outcome it is showing you, but you have to be able to interpret them to take the correct decisions, right? Otherwise, it's just another data point, it's just another piece of information which you cannot act upon. So I think what really matters is the understanding, the knowledge that you need to be able to interpret and take the right decisions with these analytics and intelligence amplification products.
Lovely. That's brilliantly summed up.
Yes, so this is my take on it. Ruben, what do you think about it?
Okay. One of the mistakes that we often do as an organization is to look at a competitive organization and trying to set up our benchmarks against them. At least with regard to people, that's a very, very wrong thread to pull. So let me give you an example. So say for example, if you have negotiation skills as one of the competencies that are required in your organization for your salespeople, the problem is that if you do not exactly understand the model, or if there are differences in the business model, in the sales approach, in the marketing approach, then looking at just negotiation skills as a competency and saying that, okay, I need to be at the level at which my competition is actually a false positive. So it may not give you the right answers. So it is better that you build your own benchmarks, which means take clusters of your own employees, find out where they stand. So then when you're going in for your hiring exercise, you can hire better people, right, compared to that benchmark. Now that you know, because I'm sure you would not change your hiring pattern overnight, which means if you hire from, say, not tier 1 but tier 2 colleges, you would continue to hire from tier 2 colleges. But at the same time, it is not that you would not find slightly better profiles even at tier 2 colleges. So without changing too much of the dynamics, also one of the things is, which Subhashini mentioned, is the pay scales. You can find out that what exactly is the demand for a pay scale for a particular level of competency that would be required for your organization to be successful.
Absolutely. I mean, only when you know what works for you,
Exactly.
who are the performers for you, and who are the laggards for you, and therefore what are the skills that each of them display, you can ensure that you pick up more people like the performers as compared to more people like the laggards in your organization.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So if you want to do certain kind of these exercises, we already do it with both large and mid-sized organizations. Please reach out to her. She is the Chief Data Scientist at Pexitex, and let us know what is the area on which you want certain kind of analytics done. Also, if you want to set up a team or you want to consider taking up an analytics project, we have a program called Intern and Learn, where you could send in your bunch of people to be skilled on work level analytical tools and skill sets.
Absolutely. So, they can do projects on your data to learn and ensure that when they are back in their positions, they are delivering on the analytics that is required for your organization.
Yeah, that's important to listen. Also, if you want to begin and you do not even have an analytics team, we can complete the entire journey. We can do the assessments, the surveys, and then we can cull out from that data the findings as analytics reports for you to then work upon it, right? So that's it, I think, for today. Do let us know how you're finding our conversations. What are the further areas that you want us to talk about?